Hello, guys, and welcome back to this month. And we're in the month of February because January has finished. The Mutant Animal series has finished, so that only begins to start a new series, guys. And this week or this month is all about half and half. So we're going to have half of the hero's face, and then we're going to have half of the hero's mask. And yeah, I've been wanting to do a half and half video where he's got half a face and half a mask for a long time, ever since I did this picture here, guys. That was back last July, I think it was, when we went and done that one. And since then, we've done a whole lot more. But yeah, if you do enjoy this, guys, don't forget to leave a like. My name is Blut084, BLUT084, art and games. I'm here every single day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. And if you want to leave a comment tonight, guys, or comment today, guys, you can do. I'm going to try and do 2 videos today. I haven't had time again this morning, to get stuff done. So I'm going to be doing the sketch today, and I do apologize that I didn't do a sketch yesterday. Normally on a Monday we do the sketch. On a Tuesday we'll ink that sketch, and then on a Wednesday we will color that sketch in, and then on a Thursday and Friday I'll go off live and I'll go and make a video out of the sketch that we've done, and I'll digitize that one ready to be released on a Saturday and Sunday. But I always will release the how to do on the Thursday and Friday, but the main picture will always be released over on the weekend, just because I may do a little few tweaks off stream, like I might do with this sketch if I don't feel happy with it before ink, because like I said, it's Tuesday today and not Monday, and I didn't have time yesterday because I had guests come around, and we had some new appliances installed. That's why I really couldn't get online. I had a few things taken to the charity shop, and things are looking a lot clearer here. So that's why I didn't have much time yesterday, guys. I was sort of sorting things out and making other people happy, other than me, with the stuff that I didn't need anymore. And I do apply people to go and do that. If you are a person that does like to shop in the charity shops, then definitely go and check out the British Heart Foundation, guys, because they are ones, guys and girls. They did help me out when I was a very young child, and if I didn't have their help, then I wouldn't been able to stay where I was. I mean, I was up in Bristol. If you guys are from England, I was up in Bristol when I had a heart operation, and I wouldn't have been able to keep my my mother, or any of the stuff that I had up there. I would have had to stay in Bristol on my own for a period of time. I was there in Bristol for about 3 to 4 months. Like a prison, but yeah, if I didn't have some funding from there, guys, then I would have been there completely alone. Well, I say alone, but I would have obviously had the nurses and that, but I wouldn't have had anybody that I knew. So I'm going to say thank you very much for doing that many years ago, and ever since, whenever I've got stuff to give and stuff, I'll say if it's clothes that my son's grown out of, stuff that I no longer want to wear, because I don't know, it's become too tight because I've got fat, or whatever. I tend to give stuff away to the charity shop, and it's always the British Heart because they help me, so I try and help them. If you're a volunteer, guys, go and check them out as well. You can volunteer for them, so go and check the British Heart Foundation out. But today we're going to be getting back on what I was talking about. We're going to be half and half. I'm going to do my very best to get a sketch done today. Try not to rush it, because it is obviously going to be quite hard to do because it's a face. We're going to do detail. I have got a face already pulled up that I'm going to try and sort of use as a template, but obviously I'm not going to be putting it down on my screen. I'm going to be looking at it and using it as a reference. And as always, guys, I've had my dinner, so I've got a burps. So without further ado, let's get my normal playlist in the background. But instead of listening just to Comic Story, I thought we'd listen to one of the other things that they bring out on their channel, and RMBN, I think it's called, where they talk about different heroes, popular things, and loads of other stuff. But today, because we're doing Spider-Man, where we're going to be half face of Spider-Man and half the mask of Spider-Man today, we've got some Spider-Man stuff playing in the background. So if you are a fan of that, then you can ask me where I get it from. Otherwise, it's Comic Storian, and I will leave you a link down below if I haven't already. Kick my ass and let me know to put one there. Otherwise, enjoy, and I'll get going.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. What are they doing?
Oh, that was brilliant. I applaud that. I applaud.
Anybody who's been with our channels for a while knows that that was a skit we did back at 200K. Welcome to the Comics Experiment, the weekly show right here at Comicstorian, where I sit with a number of guests and we discuss various things in the comic book world, history, and lore. We talk about current news. We go find other lists and see if we agree or disagree with them. We teach each other about comic books. It's what we do here, my dear viewers. You can also watch this streamed live and see behind the scenes over at twitch.tv/eligible monster. And you can also get it early access over at patreon.com/comicstorian. That's where I always get them mixed up.
Yeah.
I always do it that
Because
way.
you always swap which one you promote first
Yeah.
as well.
And it throws me off. Anyway, today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood, a great stock exchange app that we here in the office do use. And it's a great app, and we'll tell you a little bit more about it in the middle of this podcast. So today, my guest is the Beanie. It brought Dan.
It's actually kind of like a puppet master too. I can't talk without it. I've got a little rat in there and it's pulling my
I was gonna say, what people don't know is you're kind of like Pickle Rick. Like there's a Pickle Rick in the back of your head, and it's controlling you. No, is that not a thing that you have going on?
That is, they call me Pickle Dan, apparently.
You're controlled by
would it be Dan'l Rick?
Dan'l Rick.
My dad calls me Dan'l.
Dan'l, really?
Yeah.
Why would he call you that?
It's it goes to it's either a song or a saying in England, and he goes through a bunch of different names.
Right,
And they're
okay.
all two syllables.
So let's get my pencils out.
So
I'm
he has
just
to
quickly
do
faffing around here on
two-syllable,
Instagram. Again, guys, you can leave me a message over there on Instagram. It is
We just can't pronounce
Blut084, BLUT084
he's
Art
English.
Games.
He's
Again, check the
English.
same name, different place. Over on
I'm sure
Instagram,
we'll
as
have
well as
some
here on
people in
YouTube
chat
and
that are like,
occasionally
I
on
know
Mixer.
that.
They've renamed
I'm
their
going to be
chat.
faffing in a
Nope,
moment.
don't say it.
Faffing
Yeah,
here,
Dickle.
and
Or your
we'll
banana
get
Dan.
going. But
I'd
I'm
like
just
to
sort
chat
of
to
really
decide what
studying the
Dan's new
picture that I've
title
got up
is
here
officially on the
before I
Comics
start, because
Experiment.
it's going to be roughly...
So, Dickle, you want to know what we're doing
Let's do
today?
a circle first,
I'm going to try them both out.
and then we'll
before
put a chin in.
the
So this is the easy
Banana
bit.
Dan?
This is the bit I can
No,
always do.
Banana Dan. But so anyway, today, Dickle, what we're going to be
And then we'll
covering,
do the half and
We're
half
covering
here, so
my
we'll
friend Dickle,
have them facing ever so slightly up to the
are
side.
the 50
And then we'll have the eye line.
worst Spider-Man
There's
stories
also
of
where
all
the
time. Now,
ears go as well,
This
guys.
is brought to you by Screen Rant, and I verified the
Okay.
date and to make sure that they were kind
We've
of
got the eye line there.
a little bit ahead. They originally published this on May 3rd,
Something like a nose.
2017.
Oh, so
So-
very recent.
Yeah, so it has a lot of Dan Slott on it. It has a lot of recent stuff on it.
Mhm.
And I wanted to bring this up today because I know you're a fan of a lot of Dan Slott Spider-Man.
I am.
And I've been
Wait,
reading
which one was
Spider-Man.
his?
Dan Slott? It was
Looks nothing
Spider-Verse.
like a nose, but
Oh, okay.
have the Spidey side here.
So you read all that,
Have
and
idea.
I've been reading Spider-Man since Clone Saga that completely swore me off
Okay, this is
Spider-Man.
really
was
rough,
the
so I'm just sort of
first
shaping
one.
out the right areas.
Oh my god, the first
Another
real
eye
Clone
here.
Saga. And I can tell you exactly the date that I started reading Spider-Man again. When was the original Spider-Man movie out? When was it?
2000 and
I'll refine those.
2001?
Is it? Are you sure it's 2001?
that's what Gary's saying.
And then we'll have...
2002.
Well, it's
okay, I
actually
was
not too
thinking-
bad. It's
Gary,
actually
you're
landed
wrong.
on where
Our
our mouth
cameraman
should
behind
be,
the camera,
ish.
who doesn't read comic books, is completely wrong about the movie release date of Spider-Man.
Gently
I want you all to be aware of
trace
this.
it there. I can get
I'd
rid of
like
it on
everyone
that
in the
side.
comments of this podcast to please put down below, shame on you, Gary.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Shame.
This is like my newscaster voice, Dickle. What do you think?
Yeah. I hate you so much. I wonder if Dylan's gonna go, oh, maybe that's inappropriate. And every time you say it, he's got a censor bleep.
So anyway, yeah, Clone Saga.
Can't draw
off
faces
of,
for shit.
off
So
of
what I'm
comic
going to
books
really,
in
really
general.
try and put
Yeah,
down
Dreaming
some
of my
details,
dad at that point.
some rough ideas there. I don't know if you can see. Let's look some of that on
What is
quickly.
Houston cooking?
He's making your dinner.
What am I having for dinner? Because it smells amazing.
It does smell actually pretty good. I
Sorry.
just ate, and I'm even wanting some of that.
Like, what is that?
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so for those guys who are unaware, the Comics Experiment is well known for going off topic.
We haven't even started the topic.
I've
either.
attempted recently to try and get it more on topic, and I've been told don't do that.
No.
So me and Dickle, we got this. All right, so you ready to kick this thing off? You ready? Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Dickel, reach out. Reach out to me, Dickel. Come on, Banana Dan. Banana Dan. I like Dickel better. Banana Dan. Hand hug.
And you've done that so many times to me that I'm just like, yeah, that's what we're doing now.
All right, so
Let's do this.
number 15, old school story. You don't know about it. Peter's parents come back from the dead and they become androids.
Okay, that sounds horrible. That sounds horrible.
I didn't
Wait.
say what it is.
Okay, continue.
The pattern becomes evident early on. Crazy events, twist reveals, and shocking retcons tend to be very, very bad for Spider-Man. In the 1990s, when these terrible storylines really got kicked off.
Okay, right. I'm going to try my very best to get
Peter
this
Parker's parents
looking
seemingly
like
came back
something
from
at
the dead.
least. I'm not
This is an important
totally
part of the Spider-Man narrative. The whole
happy
Peter's
with
parents
that already,
worked on
but
the
that's because it's
storyline
rough.
is silly enough. It's probably on here.
That one I do know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But was made only worse by this story, which reveals that they've secretly been alive the whole time, trapped in a prison camp. The heartfelt reunion goes sour, though, and Peter's decision to show them his
Alright,
secret
shift around so I can actually get some detail here.
that they are now plotting their son's death. Later, it's revealed that these are fake parents and they're just lifelike killer robots. But the whole deception was an evil plot by Harry Osborn of the Chameleon. As goofy as android retcons go, this is at least less damaging to the mythos if they had been his real parents. However, worse things await. This is only number one. The first thing on this list is android parents, Dan.
So that, did you say android pants?
Android parents, Dickel. Come on, get it right.
So much.
It just flows so freely.
I swear, if this becomes a thing,
All right, so what do you think about android parents coming back from the dead to battle against their
it sounds
sons?
horrible.
Would you read it?
No. It sounds. If anything, they should have had Uncle Ben come back.
As an android?
I feel like that would make it using his parents' because besides the most recent where they were like secret agents or whatever.
Yeah, the whole Spider-Man Deadpool plotline had some weird stuff going on.
It had some weird stuff there, but
the actual secret agent thing is really old.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it's been around for a while, and it's one of those things that we're not going to mention it unless you get a good plan.
Right. See, I feel like his parents don't really get their only real mention is they're dead.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I feel like that's kind of how it should be. I think it's how it should stay. Bringing them back in any way, shape, or form, I think
That's
dilutes the character a little.
That's why I feel like Uncle Ben would be a better one to bring back because it's one that the readers are also a little bit more invested in and know a little bit.
But at the same
about.
time, we don't want him back. Remember what happened when they brought him back as a superhero?
Which time?
Pick one, Daniel.
Well, I liked when he was the Spider-Man. Spider-Ben?
Spider-Ben. All right. Number 14, Sins Past. If the android parents nonsense hadn't taught Marvel at least one lesson, it was don't drudge up things from Peter's past and then spew them sideways for new storylines.
Oh,
Unfortunately, the lesson was not learned. Instead, we eventually ended up with a much-hated storyline where the Green Goblin has sex with Gwen Stacy.
Oh, what?
I think you haven't heard of this one?
I think I might have.
Sins Past reveals that before Gwen got killed, she gave birth to twins named Gabriel and Sarah. The father is Norman Osborn. Apparently, the actual reason he killed her was because she threatened to cut him off from their children. So yes, the story fundamentally undermines the entire point of one of the most iconic Spider-Man moments ever. Children rapidly age to adulthood, have healing factors, and Gabriel Stacy ends up becoming the Grey Goblin. What? I didn't even know about that.
When was this written? Does it say?
The artwork looks like 2000s.
What? That sounds horrible.
Spider-Man Sins Past. I'm looking to see when this came out.
Come on, Gwen Stacy. I thought you had standards.
2004.
That's actually relatively recent.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, that's 15 years ago. Why would Gwen Stacy sleep with Norman Osborn?
Here's the best part. The panel of them having sex. He goblins out in the middle of it.
Hold on, screening down a little. Oh my god. I guess that's his O face. That was the only way I could say it and have it be somewhat family
So the
friendly.
Green Goblin is like, hey, what is up, Gwen Stacy? Apparently, Goblin! Oh, no.
Because the funny thing for you guys watching the live stream that are not actually seeing the screen. That's what it looks like. Like that legitimately, it's just straight normal face, goblin face. I mean, hey, I guess that's her fetish.
Number 13, Sins Remembered. This is how bad things become worse. Sins Remembered was the follow-up to Sins Past.
Okay, for the record, the fact that these past two stories have been the bottom of the list makes me very nervous about this whole list.
And it chronicled what happens to Gwen's daughter, Sarah Stacy. After the conclusion of Sins Past sees her brother transformed into the Grey Goblin, Peter comes to get her out of the hospital, where Sarah was evidently waiting for him to rescue her. It rapidly becomes apparent that Sarah has a massive crush on him. Yes, the daughter of Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn has a crush on Peter Parker, her dead mother's boyfriend, which is more than a little bit weird. It dives into their past and is generally just uncomfortable from start to finish, particularly when Sarah tries to kiss Peter in front of his wife, Mary Jane. While Sarah Stacy has disappeared since the storyline, Grey Goblin has, unfortunately enough, reared his head multiple times. So he got stuck in a love triangle with Gwen Stacy's daughter, with Norman Osborn, and Mary Jane.
The daughter with Norman. I was like,
doing
wait,
faces?
did
Why
I
did I do
mishear
this?
that Norman Osborn was also into Peter?
That would have been hilarious. That's a story you should let me write, Marvel. Trust me, it'll sell. I mean, it won't be revered very highly. How would I do that? So Norman Osborn realizes that his infatuation with Peter Parker this entire time is actually a massive crush on Peter Parker.
It's him been trying to. He's in that state where he's like, no, I'm not gay because I hate him.
Yeah,
I hate him.
I hate him.
That's why I have.
That's why I'm not. There's no way I could be gay. I hate Peter Parker. That's why I must be infatuated with him. And then eventually, like Spider-Man tackles him. They roll on the rooftop. Spider-Man's on top of Norman, and he's like, "No, I get it now."
No, it would be he's falling off, and he would somehow get caught on like the ladder, and he would be hanging upside down, and Norman would be like, "I see why MJ was into this." The upside down kiss.
Right. But then Green Goblin, he'll just hover in front of him, and Peter Parker will be like, "I'll get you, Norman." And he'll be like, "I love you, Peter Parker. Run away with me to the Bahamas with my millions." and Peter Parker's like, "Well, I need money." We should probably move on.
Yeah, I don't even remember. For the record, though, a love triangle with your ex's daughter is weird.
A little? Just a little?
At least he wasn't with Gwen at the time.
So far, 3 into our list, I'm agreeing with this.
Yes, no, I'm actually very... Okay, we are on time to go through the whole thing, because I'm excited for this.
Number 12 is Trouble. No, that's not Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy. That's Aunt May.
What?
There's a picture on the screen. Dylan will put it for the visual, but I can't show it to the live viewers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a younger-looking Aunt May holding a condom, stating, "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." For the record, maybe our Norman Osborn, Peter Parker fanfic is not that far off from the worst stories of the list.
No wonder if that's even on the list, because that's...
So in
I'm
2003,
sorry.
created by Bill Jemas and Joe Quesada, there was a story about teen pregnancy that's supposed to resurrect the long-dead genre of romance comics. It tells a story about 4 hormonal teenagers who just happen to be named Ben, May, Richard, and Mary, and their romantic exploits. There's a plot twist when May cheats on Ben, her boyfriend, with Ben's brother Richard. May gets pregnant with Richard's son and is so afraid to reveal the truth to her parents that Mary saves the day by pretending to the world that the child belongs to her and Richard, and that May was never pregnant. Obviously, the names are no coincidence. This story was written with the intention of revising Peter's origin so that Aunt May was actually his mother, and cheated on Uncle Ben with Richard Parker. The twist didn't fly with the fans, though, who immediately rejected the story and pointed out its numerous contradictions with established continuity. Trouble was quickly buried in the backyard and has never been referenced again.
Good. That's... Okay, I won't lie. At first, the way you started that, I was like, is Aunt May trying to sleep with Peter?
That's what I thought based on what they've got there. So here's...
at least it's not that bad.
Coming soon to the Comic Historian channel. Spider-Man. Aunt May is really his mom.
Aunt Mom.
Uh,
No, that is weird. Also, the
my
fact
question
that,
is, why would you even do that?
I think the main reason is why would you or how would you go? No, that's actually my baby. She was pregnant and I wasn't, and you guys all saw us for 9 months and would know which one was pregnant, which wasn't.
Yeah.
But no, it's mine. Like what?
May just got really fat really quick. I don't think you could change that. The
No.
Aunt May Peter Parker relationship.
That would change it way too much because in that, obviously Aunt May would know.
She would know, which means she's never told Peter.
Yeah.
But like,
Or Ben.
why does Aunt May have to be his mother? How does that change their dynamic?
Honestly, like the only thing that it changes is that it's also his mom. Like,
But like I said, what's the point? Why would you need to
exactly
retcon
like
that?
he already has a good relationship with her. It's not like saying, "Oh, it's his mother," is going to somehow make it stronger. No, he pretty much already considered her pretty much his mom.
Yeah. Number 11 is Changes. This bizarre little tale sees Spider-Man face off against this new telepathic insect.
Gonna go
Until he lays a giant quick kiss
changing.
on the wall
Who
crawler,
done said
which then causes him
wrong?
to experience changes. Insert every prepubescent teenage story going through puberty and finding love.
It initiates his changes. It always cracks. How the wall crawler became.
Hello, Scoob. Wait, I was Scoob. You're Shaq. I got that backwards.
Yeah.
First, he grows a couple of extra arms, some extra eyes, and some fangs.
So that's the wall crawler's puberty. Gaining limbs.
Dude, it's almost like... Okay, no big deal. Then his transformation is completed when he's turned into a giant spider. The Queen then announces that Peter is pregnant, despite the fact that he's still male. Yeah, don't worry. When I turn you into a giant spider, you're having babies.
I mean, I guess at least he gets that $1 million prize of that trying to get a male pregnant. But does he actually give birth?
The Queen then gets all excited that the Spider-Man turned a giant spider is going to give birth to her offspring, but instead he dies, causing her to weep at the tragedy of it all. But wait! From the spider's carcass, a child is born, a very human Peter Parker. Back from the dead with a couple of new random powers, including insect telepathy and organic webbing. This was the storyline that gave him the Tobey Maguire organic webbing stuff. They tried to line that up.
That doesn't make it better. What were these writers thinking?
This is okay. So
legitimately, like,
for those of you
what
guys who
makes you
don't know,
think that this would be a good story? Honestly, like,
here's the problem with heroes like Spider-Man. He's been around since the 60s.
yeah,
So you do end up running down these weird paths to try and make some continuity make sense, or to throw your own spin on it and things like that.
or come up with something original, but it's try better.
Number 10 is Mary Jane's fake death. Why does the West spin on
Changes.
The strange and pathological hatred that Marvel editorial has for Spider-Man's marriage to Mary Jane has a terrible saga unto itself. Since the 1990s, multiple editors tried to destroy the Spider marriage, leading to many awful storylines on this list. One of these, Kill the Marriage attempts, was this storyline where a huge
Looks
mystery
nothing
played out
like
about
a
someone stalking
human.
and then killing Mary Jane. One
I'll
would think that
keep
Peter's wife would
trying.
immediately tell her spider-powered husband
I'll
about such a
keep
thing.
trying
But
to
instead, the
get
story makes
this
her keep it secret.
done.
Why?
But
Don't you
I'm
want to
going
play it and then
to
it blows
fail
up?
because it's looking like a female.
So she faked her death.
Of course, she's not actually dead. Sometime later, it's revealed that her stalker has been holding her captive, and that he's a psychic supervillain who wants to steal Peter's life. After Mary Jane is rescued, the subsequent reunion is filled with more weird and out-of-character feats, like the fact that she decides to separate from Peter shortly after getting home. The whole thing doesn't line up with how either of these characters are supposed to act, and the whole stalker death captive mystery took an entire 2 years to play out. Sounds like if I was reading this, it may have made me stop reading like the Clone Saga.
Yeah, I think the Clone Saga sounds actually pretty good right about now.
I'm gonna get
Okay,
my
2 years of her
pencil,
gone,
got
of her
to
gone.
shade.
The problem with this is it sounds like Spider-Man also probably had other stories during it when you would think that he would just be searching for her. Because I don't think Spider-Man would take 2 years, considering he could go, man, I know some of the world's smartest people. I'm sure they'd be able to find my wife.
I mean, yeah, Hey, Professor X.
Hey, Mr. Fantastic, I've got some of her hair around. Can you make me some sort of device that, like...
Yeah, like a seeing eye dog. Wait, what would you think a seeing eye dog? A smelling dog? Bloodhound? Shut up! Number 9 is The Gathering of the Five, the final chapter. Basically, the whole storyline involves Norman Osborn putting together some of the arcane ritual involving magical relics called The Gathering of the Five, where 5 individuals must gather willingly so that each can receive magical gifts. But to understand just how much the story sucks, some additional content is needed. Some years before this, Aunt May died in Amazing Spider-Man number 400, a heartbreaking comic where she reveals that she knew Peter's identity the whole time. Much of some more backstory, Mary Jane suffered a miscarriage. Something weird was implied that had happened with the remains of the stillborn Parker child, who would have been named May. Fans were buzzing for years about whether baby May was alive in an Osborn.
What do you think, guys?
Got it? Okay. After Osborn's mystical ceremony,
But did the
Mary
other half
Jane
yet?
hears that May is alive. Spider-Man desperately tries to find his daughter, fighting his way through the Green Goblin, only to find that this living May is actually Aunt May. The retcon here involved plastic surgery, a hired actress, DNA infusion, and let's not go much more into it. But it definitely ruins number 400 for no good reason whatsoever. I don't know what to say about that one.
Part of me feels like that goes into the Renew Your Vows story. Because didn't MJ have a miscarriage in that early on? And that's why they had
they mentioned the miscarriage in Renew Your Vows. In
Yeah.
an alternate timeline, May existed to be Spider-Girl, though. That's the one that
okay.
met and that met
That's
with.
right.
Yeah,
In
so that's where that
Spider-Man.
all came from.
Okay. That's still a really...
Sounds unnecessary.
It does. It was almost like they were like, we used the Sinister Six too many times. Let's make a magical 5.
Number 8 is the Clone Conspiracy.
Oh.
Don't worry, folks, the Clone Saga will be coming up soon. But the Clone Conspiracy is a recent follow-up story, and it's pretty rotten. The Clone Conspiracy has Spider-Man's old villain, the Jackal, re-emerge in an interesting new Anubis-inspired costume, with an all-new cloning plot reviving dead people. There's also a whole thing where the Jackal is set to cause global devastation by unleashing the carrion virus upon the population. Taken on their own, these story ideas have potential. But then the Jackal takes off his mask and reveals himself to be Ben Reilly, the former Scarlet Spider. This is an act of pure character assassination on Reilly, and for no reason whatsoever. Ben Reilly died at the end of the Clone Saga as a hero. He continued to be a fan favorite ever since his death in the 1990s, and many clamored for his return, but no one wanted him to come back as a villain, betraying all of his values and acting like a completely different character than the hoodie-wearing rebel from the 1990s. He was also in, because you read this one,
Spider-Geddon?
Spider-Geddon. He had a redemption in that as well.
I was actually just thinking that his appearance in Spider-Geddon sounds to redeem this pretty well, actually.
No, Spider-Geddon, yes. That was his redemption.
Oh, yeah,
Spider-Verse. He died a hero again.
Yeah, he did, because they even say, they're like, oh, yes, it wouldn't be Ben Reilly if he didn't die a hero.
I know. It's funny because we get a lot of requests to do the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider, but one of our biggest ones, Tevia in our chat, loves to be like, are you guys going to do Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider? Mm-hmm. I don't like it because it's not Ben Reilly. It's this crazy off-the-wall guy who goes to Vegas and causes problems. It's like they tried to make him edgy, and then it was almost like they started the story, Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider, and then remembered we already have an edgy Spider-Man. His name is Kane, and he goes by the name Scarlet Spider.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
So they brought him in as well.
Whenever people say Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, I'm like, no, that's not right. It's Kane.
It's Kane, because Kane did it as like a redemption arc. Yeah.
And it was like huge plot point in Spider-Verse.
I love that version of Scarlet Spider, and I love the original. But the one that became the Jackal and then became a bad guy, nope, garbage. But I will say, because I know this one more frequently, the Clone Conspiracy. My big problem with the Clone Conspiracy, not even the Ben Reilly character assassination, it was so goddamn pointless.
Which story is it? Because in the Spider-Geddon, they go over he became the Jackal because he was consistently tortured and killed, then resurrected, then tortured and killed and resurrected.
Yeah, that is the plot from Clone Conspiracy.
Okay, that is this one. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Clone Conspiracy was, in my opinion, just garbage because it didn't matter to anything.
Yeah.
It didn't change anything. It didn't feed into any storylines. Nothing changed. Ben Reilly went off to Las Vegas, and all the villains became villains again. I think it revived from the dead like 2 people that like stuck around. Number 7 is The Other.
So whatever.
So if you know Spider-Verse, this plays into The Other.
Yeah.
Yeah, Other, the Bride, the
The
Scion.
Other, the Bride, the Scion, now the Pattern Maker, Pattern Weaver.
Yeah, they make weird names for these.
I can't remember. I know there's a couple others, or at least one other, but I don't know what it is.
So anyway,
So this was a separate story?
yeah, this is where it started.
Oh, I didn't realize it was actually a thing before Spider-Man.
This is the one where Morlun eats Spider-Man's eye. Though fan opinions of the Totem era vary, one thing that most can agree on is that Morlun is one of the most effective new Spider-Man villains of the 2000s. His original
Okay, I'm
story
pretty much happy
is
with
a
that.
cinematic-
I'm going to start
cinematic
doing
in scope that could easily be adapted into a great Spider-Man movie. The same can't be said for the
Spider-Man
other.
side now.
Another of these
Which is one of my favourite bits. Let's get on with that
Put
now.
with taglines like "Everything changes forever again," and lots of noisy press releases that hyped it up. Ever wonder why fans hate big events these days? To be clear, the other's problems have little to do with Morlun. The story starts with Peter finding out that he's dying, leading to a blowout fight with Morlun with the whole eye-eating episode. And then concludes with Peter being reborn again by shedding his old skin and regenerating or something. It all ends with him conversing with some mystical spider being, a potentially cool story element, and say, a Doctor Strange comic, but which has no business in the web-slinging adventure. This was their attempt at making it more mystical.
Yeah.
And they wanted to give you
This was the one that we could have gone, well, here's some of his magical villains.
Yeah, no, well, the other and everything, they were trying, for some reason, decided they wanted to slightly retcon the Spider-Man origins so that he was destined to be Spider-Man by these mystical totems. And there's animal totems and all of it. It was so weird.
Yeah. For the record, though, Morlun is a great villain.
And for the record, Dan,
Yeah.
I do like Morlun because he opens portals for the world of ads. One thing that I've always wanted to do myself is get into investing into stocks, and I really don't understand it beyond a basic level. The Robinhood app has actually helped me get into something that I've always wanted to be a part of, the stock exchange. The Robinhood app is an app designed to make investing in stock and cryptocurrency easy for the everyday person. With a simple-to-use interface, you can find the companies that you want to invest in and see data about that company, including performance over the past day up to 5 years. I've been using it myself to make selections that I just found interesting or things that I wanted to be more involved in, and I use their data to understand the stock market, something that I never thought I'd be able to do. Analytical data is provided in a simple-to-read buy, hold, sell percentage for each company. Robinhood makes it easy to search for different companies by searching for entertainment or social media, or you can search for the 100 most popular to help you ease into the entire process. While most brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, Robinhood is commission-free, allowing you to trade stocks and keep all of your profits. Robinhood is giving my listeners a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. Sign up at experiment.robinhood.com. That's experiment.robinhood.com. Seriously, I thought that this whole app would be like really imposing, but once I downloaded it, it took me about 5 to 10 minutes to figure this whole thing out. This isn't even a part of the actual read, guys. This was something I've always wanted to do, and it was a great app to help me get into this entire world. Portal closes.
Well played, good sir.
Number six. Number six. Number six. Number six. Number six. Number six. Doc Ock almost marries Aunt May.
Oh, that's actually the thing.
Doc Ock almost marries Aunt May.
Oh, Doc Ock.
Doc Ock.
Wait.
Not all terrible Spider-Man stories come from the last few decades. Most of them, yes, but even in the classic era, they had a few stinkers. Dr. Octopus had many devious and intelligent plans, but this one is not one of his shiniest. The whole thing happens because Octopus discovers that Aunt May is about to inherit a nuclear plant. For whatever reason, Octavius determines that the best way to steal the inheritance from her is to get married to her, a proposition which Peter obviously is not too excited about. Luckily, the wedding gets interrupted by Hammerhead. Not so luckily, the story still occasionally gets referenced, which means that it must still be in part, in some way, in continuity. I think they just mentioned it too recently.
Why is she inheriting a powerful nuclear
I
power?
don't know. Maybe we should read this one. Spider-Man. Aunt May gets a power plant. That one might not be as
Radioactive
cool.
Aunt May.
Yeah. That one may not be as clickety as I'd like it to be.
Why? That just doesn't.
Okay, so this one I did see when I was glancing to make sure this was up to date.
Okay.
I disagree with this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Number 5 is corporate Peter.
Oh, Parker Industries?
Parker Industries era.
So Iron Man, Peter Parker.
Yeah. When you say it like that now, there's a reason to hate it. I get that. But I like seeing the evolution of his character.
It was a good evolution. I'm assuming this, I'll let you read it, but I'm assuming this is the one where after Spider-Verse, where he gets his body back,
Yep.
but he still has everything.
Spider-Man is an everyman except when he became a second-rate Tony Stark knockoff. Sure, by the time Peter's in his late 20s, he shouldn't be working freelance at the Daily Bugle anymore. The comics in the 2000s solved that problem by placing him as a high school science teacher in his old school. But now, as the CEO of Parker Industries, Peter Parker is suddenly a cocky billionaire playboy who flies to different Parker Industries branches all around the world. And uses the Spider-Man identity as both his bodyguard and as a mascot for the company. Basically, the whole thing changes Peter from working-class hero to annoying one-percenter. Okay, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
When you word it like that, yes, the story was not that great.
It was a good story, but it wasn't good for Peter Parker kind of story.
And I, in my opinion, it would have been a good conclusion, so we wouldn't see him go all cocky.
Yeah.
Like it ends and he becomes rich and famous because he's so intelligent, and
because that much makes sense, because Peter is super intelligent. Like
Yeah.
he's very, very smart. He would be able to do that. But that does remember, because when they go to I think it's Japan, they have like the Spider-Mobiles and like all of that. That I definitely was not the biggest fan when they kind of went to that story arc.
it was okay in my opinion, but that's strictly my opinion.
Yeah.
I do think it stayed around way too long.
I don't think it deserved this high up on the list.
No, maybe 15, 14 I could have accepted it, but not as a number 5.
Yeah, definitely not a number 5.
Number 4 is Spider-Man Chapter 1. With on the cover, it says, everybody laughs at the loser Peter Parker, but no one will be laughing at the amazing Spider-Man. Since Spider-Man was created in the 1960s, a lot of early comics do show their age, so the notion of updating them for the present day isn't a bad one. In fact, the same idea led to the highly successful Ultimate Spider-Man, but here it didn't work so well. Like Batman Year One, the series Spider-Man Chapter 1 was supposed to be a retelling of the original origin by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, modified the suit with more contemporary sensibilities. But the problem is that unlike, say, Sam Raimi's rather faithful Spider-Man retelling, this version changes things for the sake of changing things. For example, the iconic radioactive spider bite scene is rewritten from a small incident to a catastrophic radioactive explosion, which almost kills everyone in the building except Peter. Why?
That is one hell of a change. I prefer Spider's Man, where he falls into a pit of spiders.
He's my favorite new Spider-Man.
Gary, that's actually a thing. There's an alternate universe where
he doesn't know
falls
if he's the reincarnated version of Peter Parker
Yeah.
or a bunch of spiders that think that they are Peter Parker. Which is more horrifying?
Good old Spider-Man. And he always has his suit like partially ripped and just spiders crawling. Sorry, I felt like in this any Spider-Man video we do, Spider's Man has to be brought up a little.
He does. On top of that, Otto Octavius is also in the devastation, and this explosion bonds the metal arms to him. That one's been used quite a few times.
That sounds very similar to the movie.
And according to this, it's just too much. Suddenly, Norman Osborn and Sandman are cousins. Norman is responsible for everything in Peter's life. It goes on, and luckily, this one's no longer in continuity.
Yeah, that definitely does seem like one of those ones where it's just too much of a change.
Yeah.
Like
Spider's Man needs a suit in PS4 game. Yes! Could you imagine that? Comes with an extra power. Spiders!
And on the skin, there's an option, arachnophobia warning. Because if you're playing Spider-Man, you have arachnophobia.
Clone Saga, number 3.
Okay.
You know all about the Clone Saga, don't you?
Which Clone Saga?
The real one. The big issue.
I know some of it, but based off of what you have told me about it, I never read it.
Okay, so the story begins with an interesting concept involving the idea that the Spider-Man clone who may or may not be the real Peter Parker.
Okay.
They make you believe that. Thanks to editorial interference, the whole thing dragged out for 3 years. 3 years of clone issues will eventually make anyone sick of clones, especially when the storyline keeps introducing new twists and new turns and new characters every 2 seconds. Then the ending just makes it all worse, as the famed Black Panther writer Ta-Nehisi Coates, I can't ever say his name properly, has pointed out, the true greatest sin of the Clone Saga is that it resurrected Norman Osborn. The dead Norman was a complex figure, and his legacy in death held a looming presence over Peter's life. After the Clone Saga, Norman has often been written more like DC's Lex Luthor. He's basically Marvel's Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
So the problem with the Clone Saga, okay, from my remembrance of it, the initial plot came out. There's a villain named Jackal who had cloned Gwen Stacy. Spider-Man found it and found out that Jackal had been cloning people.
Okay.
One of his early clones is Kane. That's the dude.
The other.
The clones have a degenerating problem. They just eventually degenerate into nothing.
Okay.
Kane was dying. Kane was like the vicious Spider-Man. But he was in a mask and you didn't know who he was for the first half of it.
Okay.
Ben Reilly, this is where he got introduced. We didn't know if Ben Reilly or Peter Parker was the real Peter Parker because there was no way to tell who was a clone and who wasn't.
Yeah.
So they decided to go about their separate ways and do their own thing. We discovered later that Kane was another Peter Parker clone.
Okay.
More and more clones started showing up all over the place. The primary three were Kane, Ben Reilly, and Peter Parker. When the storyline finally resolved, this was a way to get rid of the Mary Jane marriage. It was decided that Peter Parker was the clone and that he would go off with Mary Jane. Oh, no. It was decided that Peter Parker was the real one and Ben Reilly was the clone. Peter Parker would go live with Mary Jane and we would have Ben Reilly as Spider-Man. That would be the new Spider-Man. That way, it was like one of those, you get your cake and you get to eat it too kind of a situation.
Yeah. It's kind of like them going, hey, we now have Wally West, Barry Allen, go have a family.
Yeah. The problem with that is the fans still weren't happy with it because it wasn't the true Peter Parker. We had a weird clone. So eventually they tried to retcon that by making Peter Parker degenerate, and Ben Reilly was actually Peter Parker this whole time. And like the thing said, editorial kept stretching it out. And from what we understand, no one really knew the ending even at Marvel. And by the time they realized how much damage they had done, it was so far in. It was like, how do we redeem this kind of situation?
And that one's still in continuity because they reference the fact of during Spider-Verse whether or not Ben Reilly was like the actual Peter Parker or not.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Because you can't have Ben Reilly and Kane running around unless you're going to keep Clone Saga in continuity. You would have to get rid of them.
I do like, though, that nowadays they clearly poke fun at the Clone Saga.
Oh, yeah.
Of how anytime someone shows up, they're like, wait, clone? Different universe. Resurrected from the dead. There's so many. But, okay, based on what you have told me about that story.
It was so bad, it got me to stop reading comics across the board.
Yeah. And it sounds like a lot of the badness from that is based off the link.
Tevi said it was more the marketing team thing. It was arguments within Marvel. Yeah. No one knew what they wanted to do with it. Number 2 is the One Moment in Time. After the ugly reception that One More Day retcon led to, hang on, we're almost there, editorial refused to backtrack. But they wanted to somehow make things better. So to that end, the story One Moment in Time was created. It offered a revised explanation as to why the Mary Jane and Peter Parker never got married thing happened, and why everyone was conveniently forgetting Spider-Man's identity after he was outed in Civil War. Basically, it's a whole new shebang about how the marriage was canceled because the web had missed it, and the forgotten identity reveal was chalked up to Doctor Strange's magic. None of this fixes the problem. One Moment in Time is a half-hearted editorial attempt to make excuses for One More Day without actually fixing any of the problems that One More Day created. The whole thing reads like an act of self-justification, as if the story knows it's wrong, and it knows that it messed up, but it wants you to pretend otherwise. Even if there are alternate explanations to why the non-marriage happened in this new continuity, they still only happened because Spider-Man did a deal with the devil. Which brings us to our final entry. And the worst, this is definitely a Spider-Man fan if this is the number 1. Definitely. This is a classic Spider-Man fan, I can tell you right now, that wrote this, which I'm going to state makes this a solid list.
So Sal wrote it?
Sal wrote it.
Okay, let's hear it.
One More Day. So you've heard us talking about One More Day.
I have heard of a lot of these, but have actively avoided them because of what I have heard about a lot of these.
So it's not, okay, way back in the rat race of comic books, let me explain what happened here. Superman and Lois got married.
Yes.
To combat that, Spider-Man and Mary Jane got married.
As you do.
I stand by my statement that it's a lot harder to write stories for a married couple.
Yes. No, incredibly
It
so.
is. I'm not going to deny that there are writers that can do it properly, but you're limiting your amount of stories, because now you always have to involve the significant other.
And you always have to keep them in mind
Yes.
for, oh, he went off planet. Well, the wife has to know. Or,
Exactly. You always have to work it in. It just makes it more difficult. That's always been my argument against the marriages in comic. I'm not against them happening. I'm against the fact that I feel they limit storylines.
And I feel like it's a lot more actually if it's a superhero marrying a non-superhero. Because when it's something like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, it's a bit more different because you have both of them able to do their own thing and not having to worry.
And then just forget the baby exists after time anyway. It's like Jessica Drew as a mom. What happened to the baby? Oh, I left it with babysitter number 5.
I feel like every story with her is her wanting to get back to her baby.
Yeah, it is.
But never actually the actual baby.
No, we never see the baby. So anyway, what ended up happening was they decided that the Mary Jane Peter Parker marriage ruined the iconic character of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
The Lois Lane Superman one they just stuck with for the longest time. I don't believe they ruined that until the New 52.
Yeah.
And they were just like, we'll just split them up, maybe do it again later. But the Peter Parker one, because Peter Parker's supposed to be your everyman, he's supposed to be down on his luck, he's supposed to never get the girl.
Yeah.
Getting him married gives him one of his goals. So and now you have to deal with Mary Jane. So what they did was they constantly kept trying to come up with ways to get rid of Mary Jane. Hence the fake marriage.
Hence half the list in
Yes.
this.
And what eventually happened was one more day. This is the answer they finally came up with to just make it not happen anymore. I believe the overall reasoning, if you look into it, was they've been looking to get rid of it forever. Okay? But it wasn't 2008 a new Spider-Man movie? I think it was The Amazing Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man was 08, 09.
I'm looking to see when that movie came out. 2012. When did the story roll out? It was tied into something that was going on in the movies.
Right, so let's give you a zoom in, guys.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much,
No, a lot of them come.
I'm fairly happy with that,
And
to
one
be
more
honest with
day
you.
was 2008. Oh, it was. So I forget that it had something to do with something. I know that, but they wanted it to officially be gone, abolished. So seriously, could there be any doubt? Is the single worst Spider-Man story of all time? Really, nothing else compares. JMS may have been stuck as the writer for this one, but no one blames it on him. He basically had a gun to the back of his head. He even wanted his name removed from the comic.
Oh, wow.
One More Day is a
I
forced
tried to put a bit
editorial
of shading in there
reason
to sort of give it a
that's
tone
absolutely
of
Marvel's attempt
the
to
nose and things. So,
rectify Spider-Man
so I didn't have to
by
put too much
everything that
detail on the
makes it
nose because
well.
they are just
For any
uncomfortable
who hasn't
noses.
heard of this story,
Eyes I'm not too
let's
bad
put it
with.
in black and white. Peter's
Again, the mouth
automated
looks a
gun.
bit
Nobody
too
can see it.
perky, but
Peter meets with Mephisto, the
I
Marvel
think
equivalent
if I made the
to
lips
Satan.
even thinner, they wouldn't.
Yes, that's
it
right.
would
The
look
story
too
has Spider-Man
thin, see what I
literally
mean?
making a deal with the devil.
So yeah, I
Automated to be saved,
done my
Peter
best
Parker
here,
and Mary
really.
Jane's marriage will have to be wiped out of the face of reality, as if it never happened.
Okay.
would say I've done my
The
best
concept
here.
here is utterly childish. Because it's probably not a
but that's a
person
sketch,
or a
guys.
that makes such a dumb deal. Much less Mr. Power.
Other than tweaking it a little bit more now.
Furthermore, this story also demonstrates.
I'm gonna have a look at a picture of that I've already got.
Editorial does not understand whatsoever.
Just for another reference picture, just so I can have a quick break as well. So you stare at that one. Well, I have a look
The map and no one moment in time does not.
at that picture that I need to look at really quickly.
Will forever have a black mark on his name. Now they didn't mention Renew Your Vows. I felt, in my opinion, I read Renew Your Vows 1 through 12. I felt it was a great compromise.
Yeah.
If you guys really want Peter Parker and Mary Jane from that original continuity, this is your answer.
Yeah.
Now, the only big issue I have with Renew Your Vows is it wasn't Amazing Spider-Man, so I feel it didn't get the spotlight it needed
No, it
to
definitely
succeed.
did not.
Because there's definitely fans who would have enjoyed Renew Your Vows and enjoyed it working and followed along with that.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Renew Your Vows is when we did 12 years later, they tried to shift the focus to Mayday and basically all of her issues. Now, was it anime? What was
Anime.
it? Anime. They tried to shift the focus to her in her high school days, and I'm like, no, what? No, it worked great when you just had them together and how they made it work.
That one though, I feel like that one's not so much a bad story. I think it moves too much away from what you want out of a Spider-Man story. And that, like I'm sure there are some people out there that enjoyed that kind of take on the character, on the characters, and like the progression of that. But in terms of what you personally enjoy, I feel like that's.
Oh no, it didn't sell. It's canceled. So it definitely was not just me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I know that one went on for a very long.
It went on longer than I think it should have. Yeah.
Who knows then? So that's the
Yeah, me almost right. I heard that rumor. I don't know how true it is, but supposedly the reason why the writer left after the 12 issues was Marvel wanted it to be about anime, and he wanted it to be a family drama.
Gotcha.
And it became a made anime Parker.
And you want to know how they could have resurrected that? Don't make it a new series focused on her in the sense that they want, and call it Spider-Ling.
Oh yeah,
Like I mean it. I think the fact that it was tagged along, I don't know. Renew Your Vows was a good compromise, though. But especially because it seems like if Marvel is like, okay, we need to destroy their marriage, it ends up on this list.
Yeah, I noticed. Well, as I said, this is Sal. Sal wrote this list. Sal,
Yeah.
are you writing lists for Screen Rant on your off days?
Sal.
Actually,
Come on,
who's the
man.
writer?
That okay, I would laugh so hard if this actually was Sal.
If this was Sal and he's moonlighting as a Screen Rant writer.
Yeah.
Nicholas Conley. Nope. No. I will say, because we do a lot of these lists, and we basically make fun of them because they aren't good.
Mhm.
That was a solid list. I don't agree with a lot of the placement,
Yeah.
but I agree with most of those on there.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this was one not a in order of severity, but more of a 15 bad stories because it was not in a proper order.
No.
Tony Stark Spider-Man should not have been in.
I can agree with it being there, especially if you're looking for old school. But I can't agree with.
Actually, I find it weird that that's in there, but not Renew Your Vows.
Yeah.
Because I thought Parker Industries, Peter Parker, I thought it was pretty good. It did have some moments where I was like, okay, why are we doing this? But I thought overall it wasn't that bad.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I guess. Yes, I am.
Is that your final answer?
You even started the question saying, I don't know why this is on here.
I know. I like messing with you. I like to mess with you. So, all right. What is this?
I don't
Are
know.
you a puppet from like 1960s puppet shows?
No, I'm one
Let's
of those.
go, Benny.
Let's fight.
What
I don't
what
know.
was that?
Shut up. So thanks for watching this episode of the Comics.
I've made Dan feel embarrassed.
The fact that we've swapped the cameras, I've looked so many times at that one thinking it's that one.
Okay, guys, what do you
Guys,
think?
I hope
Let
you
me know
enjoyed this
in the
list.
comment
What did
section.
you
I'm going
think,
to
Danny?
pause
I liked it.
this
I liked it.
here.
There's a lot of stories in there.
I'm going to pause that there and say I'm done. I'm done as much as I think I'm going to be able to sort of get on there. It'll never be perfect. Excuse me. Only because, I'm not that good at drawing faces. But I don't think I've done too badly. But let me know, guys. I'm going to have a look at the webbing for the face. But, yeah. It looks all right. The eye's looking a bit big. The nose is looking a bit small. But the shading is there. And half and half, I've achieved what I wanted, I think, with the half and half face. It'll look, as always, it will look a bit better when I digitize it because I can add loads of little tools. But that won't be till Thursday and Friday. So that's your sketch, guys, that I didn't do yesterday. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. And I'll be back very soon, if not in another 10 or 20 minutes. I'm going to have a quick break, have a toilet, and get myself a quick BRB. But I'll be back, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed this one and enjoyed the comic story in the background. Again, if you want a link to to watch what I've been listening to on YouTube, then let me know in the comment section. But I'm pretty much done here now. That's Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Thanks for watching, guys. My name's been Blut084, BLUT084, Art and Games. I'm here every day on YouTube, occasionally on Mixer, but every day and night over on Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys. Click those links that will appear very shortly after the end of the stream. I've got to put them in afterwards, so if you're watching back, don't forget to check in the playlists, and if they appear, click those to see the other videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye for now.